2025 Volvo EX30, the brand's smallest vehicle that happens to be all electric, and I didn't think my first experience driving it would be here on a frozen lake in northern Sweden. What am I doing? Well, I'm testing out its proficiency on a low traction surface, aka the ice. And this one I'm driving is the twin motor, the all-wheel drive version. And I was really curious because even though I'm more looking forward to the rear-wheel drive version, the single motor, I was curious to see how this one performed on this track. Now, just a little bit of background about this course. It's quite big, 3.5 kilometers or so, 75 different corners, and all of them are just slightly different to give us a better sense of how these vehicles are going to perform. Now, the reality is the average EX30 owner probably isn't going to do anything like this. Let's be real. The average vehicle owner in general probably isn't going to do anything like this in their own vehicle. But the point is to kind of prove that it can, and also how it performs. But again, what I'm curious about is the rear wheel drive, because for years, automakers, including Volvo, have been telling us all that all-wheel drive is the answer when it comes to safety. And it's kind of true. But now we're in this weird space where rear wheel drive makes sense with electrification, but that means telling consumers, hey, you don't need all-wheel drive because you get more range, and that is the key with EVs. But how does a rear-wheel drive vehicle stack up in low traction situations like this? That's what we're here to find out. Now, with this dual motor version, it uses the same battery pack as the rear-wheel drive version. 69 kilowatt hour battery pack, 422 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. It's a lot, but it feels very controlled. Now, I can go here in this menu, turn traction control off, and also have performance all-wheel drive engaged. And what that does is it locks the clutch to make sure that the front wheels are getting power all the time. Instead of the slip and grip setup, this thing is fully engaged. And with that performance all-wheel drive, as well as ESC, at least turned down, damn, this thing is a lot of fun. Right, so I have switched into the rear-wheel drive car. Now, a couple key points. I'm starting here with traction control on. I'm also using one pedal drive, which is not possible with the performance all-wheel drive setting in the twin motor version. But the cool thing is, you can use the one pedal driving to control the balance of the car instead of the mechanical brakes. And that is a super cool experience, something you obviously cannot do in a gas-powered vehicle. And I really dig it. It makes it so much more controllable. The weight transfer is just kind of a little bit more controlled because you are not using your foot to modulate the brake pedal or even tap the brakes. The car is doing it for you, and it really wants to pivot. Now, this one makes 268 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque, and it is plenty. Obviously not out here, even with these studded tires, are you going to be accelerating very quickly, but when you are on pavement, it'll do the job. Doesn't necessarily feel like it's missing that extra torque and traction of the twin motor version. So I can hear the ABS clicking away as the traction control kicks in and kind of brings the car back into check. Now, as I come around this last kind of sweeping bend, I am going to go ahead, straighten out, reach down here into the touchscreen and turn stability control off. Now, it doesn't shut off completely, and that is a bit of a bummer because, well, it still kicks in and it does bring the car back into check when you don't necessarily want it. If you're ice driving, what you want is that pendulum action, and you can feel it cut traction as you are swinging back around. It's on the back swing. And those are the times that you want to be able to kind of give it a little bit more juice and just get the back end to swing back around. And right there, it wants to cut off the power supply because it thinks that you are out of control. But otherwise, this thing is very controlled, and it does kind of answer the question, do you need all-wheel drive? Absolutely not. Does rear-wheel drive make a massive difference with an electric vehicle like this one? Not really. I'm talking official range estimates that are, I don't know, an extra 25 kilometers between the two, or maybe even less than that. I think the rear-wheel drive version is good for 442 kilometers and the all-wheel drive version is good for 425, so it does not make a massive difference. But what does make a massive difference is the very construction, the very makeup of an electric vehicle with the low center of gravity thanks to the battery pack. It means you have all kinds of traction that you don't necessarily have with a gas-powered vehicle, and that is the difference maker, and it does make things a little bit more lively and engaging. It's maybe not necessarily more playful in a vehicle like this, but it's definitely more engaging, and if you like driving, that is an appreciable benefit. All right, so this time I decided to turn the one pedal mode off and take a little bit more control. I have to use the brakes every once in a while, just a little love tap so I can get a bit of rotation here. And while I'm doing it, I'll talk to you guys about some other details of this EX30. Pricing in Canada, 57,000 to about 66 grand. Very few options beyond the different trims. So you can pick some different wheels, but that's about it. And I think you'd do that and you're gonna look at about 68 grand before tax for the most expensive dual motor version. And I'll tell you guys, I really do like this vehicle. I've been looking forward to driving it for a long time. I saw it last year, really was digging what was going on here. And now that I'm behind the wheel, I think it is very cool. It is not perfect though. The user interface, I'm sorry, I just do not love the kind of oversimplification, everything centralized to this touchscreen right down to the door mirror controls. And that to me is very annoying because you have to use these little buttons on the steering wheel, but you gotta pick which one you're adjusting in the touchscreen. The other thing, there is no instrument display here. The instrument display, it is on the touchscreen. You have to glance down, and yes, it is kind of in your field of view here with the big speedometer, but I don't see what's wrong with just putting it right in front of the driver. It does make this dash a little more streamlined and a little lower though, and that is kind of cool, but I wish this thing was just a little bit more conventional. I see Volvo here kind of doing that reinvention of the wheel with its EVs, because if you take a look, there are no speakers. You get this sound bar that spans the bottom of the windshield. You also can't turn this thing on or off conventionally. When you get into it or you approach it, it turns on, and when you get out, it turns off. But to me, not being able to do that, you know, hit a button somewhere, it's very annoying. I don't understand. I told you guys this before. When I drive vehicles, I've never had one of those moments of, oh yeah, it's cool and I like it, but I just wish I didn't have to have that one extra step of hitting a start-stop button. So that I don't love, but overall, this thing is very comfortable. The soft spring rates actually help with the weight transfer out here, and that is super cool. I've definitely talked to you guys about that before, and if you didn't know that, well, now is a good time to subscribe to the AutoTrader YouTube channel so you can get all my thoughts, as well as AutoTrader Editor-in-Chief Jody Lies, because we have a lot of them. And on that note, I'm gonna go out here and continue having fun on this frozen lake in a rear-wheel drive EV. Who would have thought?